by Tom Izzo in that timeout.
I was 7 years old watching a football game by myself, and I saw those winged helmets come out of the tunnel, and I was hooked at that point.
Kane in Chicago! Oh my God! Kane with the overtime winner!
Jameer Gibbs to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. You can't cover that man one-on-one. You just can't do it.
He drives, lobs to JD for a jam.
You play real good, you start. You don't play as good, you work your way back in. It's the American way, except America has gotten soft. But that is the American way. That's the way it works.
This is the 6-6 Kane Jameson Williams, he's got it! Touchdown, Lions! Now it's Larkin with a burst of speed. He scores! Gives the United States the lead for the first time tonight.
This is a tough Monday for us, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of people bummed right now. There's a lot of people who felt like there were certain aspects of this series that was going their way after a really impressive Friday night blowout win in Cleveland. You get to go back to the crib, right? That's the cliche. You get to, I know that doesn't work coming from me. You get to come home. I've said this time and time again. We could use Philadelphia as an example. We can use San Antonio as an example. We could use Detroit as an example. Now we use Cleveland as an example. It only takes you so far. Cleveland blows out the Pistons in one of the more disappointing playoff performances we've seen in this city in history. We're talking about a game 7 here. We're talking about a playoff series. I'm not talking about a regular season game where the Tigers get beat up 13-3. I'm talking about something that was on the line, a chance to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Considering the Pistons at home all time in game 7s were 5-0, beating the Magic 116-94, beating the Cavs in 06, 79-61, beating the Nets in 04, 90-69, beating the Magic in 03, 108-93, beating the Bulls in 1990, 93-74. Considering all that history, considering what it has meant to Detroit, people felt pretty good about going into last night until you got the sense in the opening quarter, didn't you, Andy? The opening quarter.
Oh, yeah.
It just was going to be a challenge. I didn't think anybody thought it was over at the end of the first quarter. Come on. I mean, you can't believe that with the comebacks. 9-point difference. Okay. That's a tough one to swallow. And then you get outscored by, 8 in the second quarter? So suddenly you're down big at the break. Every single quarter, or the first 3 quarters, Cleveland scored 30 points or more. That tells you your defense did not come to play. Your offense wasn't very good, but your defense didn't come to play. Detroit didn't score 30 in any of the 4 quarters. The most points they scored in any quarter was 26 points in the third. And then they used that springboard to score 21 in the fourth. It really was one of the most disappointing performances you could imagine. They shoot 35% overall for the game. They actually made more threes than Cleveland. The Cavs went to the free throw line 44 times.
Yeah, no, it's
Detroit went 29.
Yeah, no, I mean the foul discrepancy obviously continued throughout pretty much the whole series. It felt like it definitely was going in Cleveland's way, but I mean, yeah, that's.
Well, we don't want to hear that.
No,
right?
No, I am so far away from that right now. Yeah,
I am. It's a narrative. I think it's a fair narrative.
You can't shoot the ball the way the Pistons did and win a game. I mean, that's
right.
just.
I'm not going to use that. I'm not going. There's somebody who put this out. The free throw discrepancy from 4 to 7 games, 4 to 7. Cleveland 146, Detroit 80. That's abominable, right? I'm not going to claim it's the sole reason Detroit lost this series. You had everything your way coming back to Detroit, and you shot 30%. The referees had nothing to do with that. The referees had nothing to do with the fact that you allowed Cleveland to shoot 51%. Those are startling statistics for a team like Detroit that prides itself on defense and rebounding. For you to lose the rebounding advantage 50-41, including the offensive glass 14-10. For you to lose that and allow a team shoot 51%, that's not, I'm not going toward the referees. We can look at it like, you know what? Game 7 probably shouldn't have taken place because of those discrepancies. And I get some personal opinion on that. I would argue in Game 5, you had them in your barn up 9 with 2:40 to go, and you blew it. That might have been the series right there. You didn't need Game 7 if you close out Game 5. Now, Game 6 might have been different. But you didn't need Game 7 if you'd have done that. You wouldn't have to worry about the refereeing if it were that. So, as I said last night, I am not using the refs as an excuse here. Detroit isn't shooting very well, and they're giving up way too many easy shots. But the flopping by James Harden was disgusting.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely.
And Dennis Schroeder. I mean, I didn't realize Duncan Robinson was that strong. It's amazing that he can fend off Dennis Schroeder with one arm, and Schroeder buckles backwards and looks like he's in a Matrix movie. But that's what Cleveland has done the entire series. And hey, listen, it worked.
Yeah, they're giving them the calls. So, I mean, it's like they're not going to do it, even as obvious as it isn't replay. But, yeah, I mean, that's –
here's what you do. You pull the Brad Pitt character from Moneyball. Adapt or die.
Right, exactly.
And if Detroit should have adapted. So a 60-win campaign, and now what they've done is they've opened themselves up, fairly or unfairly, by many people saying they're the most fraudulent number 1 seed of all time. That's not true. Cleveland was the 1 seed a year ago at 64 wins, and they didn't reach the Eastern Conference Finals. What are people really that short-sighted? Are they that forgetful in a year? Are we getting so caught up? Somebody said overnight about Cleveland and New York and the matchup, and people were super excited because these are two teams playing at their best ball. That's what one of the female basketball analysts for ESPN said. And I literally stopped and I looked up and I said, Cleveland just got their ass kicked in Game 6. You're telling me they're playing their best ball? They get their ass kicked in Game 6 at home. They played really well last night. I give them full props. Don't give me this. They're playing them. Playing your best ball means you are continuously playing your best ball. You are not stubbing your toe and getting torched at home in Game 6. But they've earned it. Cleveland has earned it. Give them credit because credit is due. You would expect your team to get some credit from them. They deserve the credit. They beat your team. They beat our team. They beat the Pistons, and they beat them handily. They left no doubt who the better team was. 125-94. They're into the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2008. We will play a lot of sound from that game after the game as the show continues this morning. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals tonight. Oklahoma City with the defending champion Thunder hosting the Spurs. San Antonio went 4-1 in the regular season series. What were the 2 highest rated basketball games this year? Do you know? The regular season, the 2 highest rated basketball games this year were what? The Thunder and Spurs, the Cavs and Knicks. I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but on ABC in the morning, ABC ran a promo that said and played and highlighted the Cavs and Knicks are ready for the Eastern Conference Finals. Game 1.
It's hard to miss.
Hadn't been played yet.
That's for sure.
Game 7 had not been played yet. So that left a lot of people wondering about the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, you're not helping. I was just going to say you're not helping that with those people right now. That's for sure.
That will come up a little bit later on today. We've got Mondays with Mitch at 7:18 as always, Mitch Lyons. And, of course, we've got our Hero and Heel. That's what takes place at 8:18. We want yours as well. A lot of different ways you can get in touch with us. The Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. This text line is Sports Radio 21,000. And, of course, you can get involved in the chat on X, on YouTube, and on Facebook at XB Mornings on a Monday morning, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
Dad, here's 3 reasons why we should go to the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give.
Okay.
1, you can spend Father's Day weekend with some real golfers.
Ouch.
2, it's a good time for a good cause. Foodie fun, family fun, and fun helping feed neighbors in need.
And 3.
3, do you really need another reason?
Join the fun June 18th through 21st at the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give. Learn more and get tickets at MeyerLPGAClassic.com.
Rod Stewart returns to Soaring Eagle Thursday, September 3rd. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series with special guest Richard Marx. Tickets start at $71 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com. One last time, Rod Stewart with Richard Marx, September 3rd. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Huge here for the incredible Crystal Mountain Resort in Thompsonville, Michigan. If you've never experienced the mountain, it's unbelievable. They offer up 36 holes of championship golf, Betsy Valley, Mountain Ridge, accommodations, a ton of choices. Go to crystalmountain.com, see everything for yourself. One of the top spas in America. They can handle businesses, small groups, big groups, your buddies, the ladies, and more. Book your getaway now at crystalmountain.com. That's crystalmountain.com. Coming up later today at 3 on the Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
It's not a disappointment at all. I'm not ever will I be disappointed in these guys. These guys every single day give us what they got. So it is not a disappointment. It's a loss, and it's a tough loss. But that adjective will never be used this group.
I hate the fact that the promo was right. I hate the fact that the Pistons are going home, and I hate the fact that the Knicks are going to be hosting the Cavs rather than the Pistons hosting the Knicks, but that's the bottom line. JB Bickerstaff won, his team's lost. There are so many different ways to put this into perspective, and it's really hard right now, and I understand it. I do. I understand why it would be really difficult for people to try to look at this when it comes to positives. 60-win season, MVP type season from Cade Cunningham, All-Star season from Jalen Duren, the ascension of one of the best defensive players in the league. Even Kenny Atkinson said he gets a mid-range jumper, he's going to be a superstar. Asar Thompson. Not every team makes the NBA Finals. For me, it was disappointing. I think you get 60 wins. If I'm going to be disappointed that the Tigers didn't make the American League Championship Series a year ago, I can be disappointed that the Pistons didn't make the NBA Finals this year. And Detroit was a 60-win campaign. Detroit did it without some of their stars throughout the season, and Detroit did it in ways that you felt traveled. We felt like defense and rebounding wins championships. And I tweeted this last night. I say it all the time. That's great. And I love that that's the ID, that's the DNA, the identity and the DNA of this franchise right now. You still have to score. You still have to be able to shoot the ball. You still have to be able to space the floor. And there were too many times, and maybe we didn't recognize this nearly enough during the regular season, there are too many times that in this year's postseason, that didn't happen.
For sure.
Even in the series against Orlando, as refreshing as it was for a team to come back down from 3-1, and impressive as it really was, you felt like there was momentum, right? Didn't you feel like you're down 3-1, you reel off 3 straight wins, then you win the first 2 of Cleveland, you've won 5 straight playoff games, and you're like, okay, we have now reclaimed our identity. We know what this team is about. That's the team. From game 5 of the first round through game 2 of the second round, you felt like that was the team I rooted for all season long.
Especially the first 2 games of the series against the Cavs. I felt like that was like the brand of basketball they played the whole season. Yep.
Don't disagree with that. I would say the game 6 win in Orlando, really impressive.
Yeah, it was it was impressive, but I mean getting down by 25. I guess just for me, the way they came out from start to finish is the way they beat some really good teams in game 1 and 2. So that's why I mentioned that. But yeah, obviously winning 5 games in a row and starting the series the way they did, you felt like there was no way they were going to lose the series.
So here's how this jades, I think, a lot of people. Moving forward, I don't know how long it's going to be. It might be up to the individual. But moving forward, are you ever going to take the regular season seriously? Okay, that's number one. And I would remind you this. It's not just one team. This is not just on the Pistons. The regular season start that the Tigers had a year ago, that had to have jaded you. The regular season of the Lions 2 years ago at 15-2. At what point are you and I going to collectively agree to say, yes, it was a nice ride, but remember when this happened? Yes, it was fun while it lasted. My fear is ... It has to have burned a lot of Detroit sports fans. You had a team that had built a massive lead in the AL Central only to watch it fall apart. And you had to settle for a wild card. You had a team set all kinds of NFL and franchise records while getting to 15-2. And it fell apart on one Sunday. You had a team that just went from 14 to 44 to 60 wins, and it fell apart in Game 7 at home in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, some of those answers, we're gonna have another one eventually get played here by JB coming back that people can hear again. But it's like that answer about like the fact that he never could be disappointed or anything. I was like, you can't, like, you're telling me right now you're happy like that or you don't feel any disappointment at all that they lost. I feel like his answers on both those were just like, oh no, how could I ever be upset with this group because they achieved. It almost sounded like he was saying they achieved more than they were capable of achieving.
Yes.
Yet they were a 1 seed. So it's just like, where's if you're a 1 seed, aren't you expected to do better? And that's where the regular season conversation we're having right now.
Don't disagree with anything you just said. I think here's where he may be coming from. Can you be disappointed in somebody if they give you everything they possibly can?
No, and I don't think he'd be disappointed in his players, and I don't think that they didn't give an effort last night. They just shot the ball horribly. That's
what he's referring to.
And I get it.
I think he's referring to the fact that when I ask the very best of this team, when I ask you to give me everything you have, give me the honest effort, I think that's what he feels he got from his team on a nightly basis.
Yeah, absolutely. I
think that's where it comes. Yeah, I think that's where it stems from.
Yep. Not to rip on him at all. I guess it's just for me, like with that, I would have liked to have at least heard that like the game was disappointing or something. I feel like he immediately just came out and kind of like made it sound like, oh, they achieved so much and weren't expected to achieve so much. I don't know. That's just how I heard it.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of people who feel the exact same way. If I had told you, considering how important he was in some of the more previous games, if I had told you that James Harden would go 2 for 10, 0 for 6 from deep, finish with 9 points, would you have taken that going into the game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Here's what James Harden in the last 6 Game 7s has done. I just gave you his numbers from last night. 3 for 9 against Toronto, 2 for 8 against Denver, 3 for 11 against Boston, 5 for 17 against Milwaukee, 4 for 15 against OKC. Those are his last 6 Game 7s. Brutal. And I mean, just awful. And yet, Cleveland was able to find the other guys in their lineup to elevate their game. You want to call it step up and use that phrase, go right ahead. I'm okay with that.
And like Mitchell and Mobley, guys that you could maybe see, as stars, being stars, whatever you want to say, they both played like that to me with the way they played last night, especially Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, absolutely. But I would remind you too that when Detroit lost Game 3, Evan Mobley only took 6 shots. When Detroit won Game 2, Mobley only had 9 points. He saved his best for last.
Yeah, there's something to be said about showing up in Game 7 and using it in the Game 7 whenever.
Absolutely. Matters. You expect that from your all-star in Evan Mobley. You expect it from Harden. You expect it from Mitchell. Max Strus has been really good for them in this series, and yet he only had 9 in the game clinching Game 7. The difference might have been Sam Merrill, a guy who was injured early in the season. He had 23 points last night. He had 7 field goals. 5 of them were threes.
Yeah, and they were big threes too. Like it felt like every time he hit one, it was like, oh my gosh, this game's just getting further and further away from the Pistons.
Therein lies the balance that is required. It's great to have a superstar. It is. I can't think of another champion that didn't have one. Maybe the 04 Pistons, because none of those guys were all-stars until after that, I believe. Ben Wallace turned out to be a superstar. Chauncey Billups turned out to be a star, not a superstar. I guess the 79 Sonics. But overall, most teams have that superstar. Cleveland has one in Donovan Mitchell, but they have other guys who are stars and elevated their game and helped him and played a role that was vital, and they were super successful. Tough to keep going if you don't have that. Quick timeout. We're brought to you this first hour by Mitch Lyons Wealth. We welcome your phone calls, your texts, and your comments in the chat here on X's and Bros.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Rod Stewart returns to Soaring Eagle Thursday, September 3rd. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series with special guest Richard Marks. Tickets start at $71 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com. One last time, Rod Stewart with Richard Marks, September 3rd, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Coming up later today at 3 on the Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
That game sucked. Being back home, definitely want to get this win from the fans. Reminded me of last year, losing on your home court. Not a great feeling. So, I hadn't been thinking about the offseason. So, my mind's been racing now, trying to figure out, what I got to do, what it's going to look like. That's really it.
So Cade Cunningham, following the Game 7 loss at home to the Cavaliers last night. No doubt about who the better team was last night, 125-94. An absolute butt kicking on the part of the Cleveland Cavaliers, who shot 51%. Detroit's high scorers were Duncan Robinson and Cade Cunningham. Each had 13. That tells you something right there. Cunningham, 5 for 16, 0 for 7 from 3. Last night was a really good example. I was watching and I'm thinking, man, that the shooting is not there. Tobias Harris with a massive struggle last night as well. Harris was 0 for 6. He didn't make a field goal all night. 0 for 6, 0 for 2 from deep. His, 5 points, I think, Andy, all came from the free throw line. I thought this is why there's a debate on whether you tell shooters keep shooting your way out of it or deck it and drive it. Get something to get the ball to go through the hoop. That's all you're looking for. Something to give you that visual and give you that confidence. When you see Dennis Jenkins shooting threes, I mean, he looked like the only confident player. Not that his numbers were great, although I said they had 13 between Duncan Robinson and Cade Cunningham. That's not right. I mean, it was Dennis Jenkins. He had 17. But when you had Cade Cunningham with 13 and Duncan Robinson with 13, you obviously you need more than that, especially for your best player.
Yeah.
But Dennis Jenkins looked like the most confident player on the floor for the Pistons.
And if that's the case, then you're probably in trouble.
You are probably
based off of the position. I mean, I know he started last night, but still.
Well, yeah, he started game 6 too. And here's the other thing. We thought, okay, Jalen Duren has arrived. Game 6, where he came back, people kept saying, well, it was his best game of the playoffs at 15-11. He had 15-15 against Orlando in one of those games. So I disagree with that. But anyway, he reverted back to how he had played mostly in the playoffs. Not only blaming him, but he has to shoulder a lot of the blame. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't good enough. He was getting outworked down low.
Yeah.
This is a massive, Andy, this is a massive decision in the offseason.
It really is. It's going to be talked about all the time.
Absolutely. Now, ESPN is reporting that Detroit is going to be aggressive and possibly trading for Lauri Markkanen or trading for,
Trey Murphy, I think was the name.
Yeah, Trey Murphy's the other one. Yeah, one of those guys. Okay, great. I'll believe it when I see it, but that's great. That would be fantastic. Would love to see them go out and get a Tyler Hero as a shooter. Understanding that other teams need that too. Understanding that there's a lot of guys who want to play with stars, so they want to play with Cade Cunningham. Who are the other guys on this team that make you say, I want to play there? They've got really good chemistry. They talk about that all the time. So I trust Trajan Langdon to find the right guys. The frustrating thing, I think, when you look back at this, as fun of a season as it was, as great of a season as it was, the disappointment that everybody feels is very similar to that of the other teams in the market and what is needed and how it wasn't gone about addressing it. The easy thing is for me and others to sit back and say, well, the Lions need an edge rusher. Go get one. Okay. Well, you have to have somebody who's willing to part with that pass rusher, that edge rusher that allows you to get better. So I don't know everything, but that's part of it. You need a right-handed power stick. There's a lot of teams that covet that. Where is that right-handed stick and what do you have to give up? And the same thing with the Pistons. The Pistons needed a shooter. Where is he? So those are the things, the Red Wings, you need a top 6 forward. They didn't go get one. All these different things. We think We know what that team needs. I don't disagree with you. How they go about it, what they need to give up in order to get that is necessary. It isn't always necessarily as easy as identifying the need. But I think this playoff series, not just this game last night, I'm talking about this series and the series against Orlando, has identified that they need another shooter/scorer. You can be a scorer without a shooter. You can be a guy inside who gets the layups. To a certain extent, not perfect, of course, but Jalen Duren was a scorer during the regular season. He's averaging 20 points per game. You need somebody who can shoot that allows Cade Cunningham to spread a little bit. How did Donovan Mitchell get some open looks? Did it not help him that Sam Merrill was gutting from deep? Do you think it opened up for Jared Allen and Evan Mobley inside? And Jared Allen was fantastic. That because what you saw was Donovan Mitchell penetrating and dumping, or penetrating and kicking out, and suddenly you have two guys knocking down threes on a regular basis, Max Strus and Sam Merrill. Do you think those guys were all helpful in Cleveland's advancement?
Yeah,
Absolutely,
it clearly was, because the assists were piling up so fast for Cleveland
Big
last
time.
night. It was crazy.
Big time. Therein lies the biggest frustration for, I would say, Detroit sports fans, not just Pistons fans. I think Detroit sports fans. They felt like their general manager built them a team worthy of their time during the regular season. And then when the postseason comes along, because we're told all regular season that the playoffs are different, what did you do to make the difference? And they didn't feel like it was nearly enough. Let me get to some texts, okay? On a busy, busy Monday morning, it's a Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question of the day. Don't forget it. We've already tweeted it out. Andy's tweeted it out. I've retweeted it. Here's the Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question. We have one for you every single day, and then we give you the results in the 8 o'clock hour. What was the biggest disappointment in Game 7? Was it shooting? Was it defense? Was it coaching or officiating? You can vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. That's how you vote, and the results come your way on Tuesday in the 8 o'clock hour. Let me just quickly tell you before we get to some texts. There is a Game 7 in hockey tonight. It's the Habs and the Sabres in Buffalo. And the Tigers fall 4-1 to the Blue Jays. Jack Flaherty gives up 4 earned runs and 5 hits over 6 innings. He suffers his 5th loss in as many decisions this year. But if you listen to a lot of people, they'll tell you, well, there's a lot to build upon there. He had a terrific outing. Okay, if you say so. Detroit's dropped 8 of their last 10, 4 straight series, 6 of their last 7 series. Really bad series against the Jays and the Mets and the Red Sox and the Royals. They're going to host Cleveland for a 4-game set starting tonight. The 108th PGA Championship goes to Aaron Rai. He carded a 565 to finish 9 under. He wins the Wanamaker Trophy for his first ever major title, second ever major or PGA Tour win. He was 3 better than John Rahm and Alex Smalley. On his closing 10 holes, he hit 7 of 8 fairways, because you got par 3s, 8 of 10 greens, had 14 putts, 1 eagle, 4 birdies, no bogeys. He gained 6 strokes in his last 10 holes. Do you know what the odds were of him winning the PGA Championship, Andy? I don't think you had this as your Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort bet of the day.
No, it was not that.
Or the daily wager. He was a plus 17,500 or 17,500. 17,500 to win the championship.
Yeah, I'd be I'd be looking a lot better if that was my pick.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. It was super
simply
impressive,
incredible.
man. The putt that he made to kind of send him ahead there too, that was crazy.
Yeah, it really was.
And his reaction was just so calm.
It was. I would have been doing backflips and falling on my face. Here's the text. You can text us Sports Radio 21,000 from our friend Freddie. When the Pistons fans cleared out and left, it was just the Cavs fans reminding me of the Jets fans who stayed on Matt Patricia's first game as head coach. And that was an embarrassment. Flat out embarrassment. The fact that JB Bickerstaff and most of the people who work for the Pistons coddled Duren after watching that playoffs and seeing him every time down low, getting stripped, trying to make an offensive move, the bricks he threw up and layups is beyond laughable. So glad to see what I've seen for 4 years when Tim McCormick last night said, making every excuse for him, he may be hurt and wants to see him back. Yeah, I didn't see that with Tim McCormick. And look, you've been on him. You were absolutely right about the way he played in this playoffs. Are you willing to say the same thing about some other players who weren't effective either? Whether it be a guy like Isaiah Stewart, for example. And you're going to say, well, he needs the minutes. He's gotten some minutes. Personally, I think he might have been hurt. But he's gotten some minutes, and he hasn't always been productive. I mean, he had 2 rebounds in 11 minutes in a game earlier this year. He had 2 points in 15 minutes in game 2. He had 3 rebounds and 6 points in 15 minutes in game 1. So I'm all for it. I'm all for pointing fingers at the appropriate person. Are you doing it for other players that you may like, who instead of just the ones you don't like? He wasn't good enough last night. He hadn't been good enough all playoffs. You needed other guys to step forward. Did they step forward? Were they playing as well as they should have? You could point that finger at a lot of people in Game 7. Shep, sign and trade for Ja Morant or Zion Williamson, and those dumb GMs will give you a first or second as well. It's a great start. You really want Ja Morant? No thanks.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, I haven't heard that name, and I
ridiculous.
don't think I need to hear that name.
Yeah, I don't know why in the world anybody would want him on their basketball team. I really don't. You're willing to sacrifice certain things for a guy who you think when he shows up and he's in a right state of mind, that is one massive headache. Here's the other thing. When's the last time? I mean, Zion Williamson, when's the last time he was reliable? He's a good player. He really is. When's the last time he's reliable? His rookie year, he played 24 games, got hurt. Following year, 61 games, got hurt. Didn't play 2022, was hurt. Played 29 games in 2023, was hurt. Played 70 games, so very, very strong performance there in 2024. Then 30 games, and then this past season started 55. Guy makes a trade like that, and Zion Williamson doesn't play at least the 70 games or the 65 games, okay? So once in his career, he would have been eligible for postseason awards. Once so far in his 8 years that he's been available to play.
Yeah.
Or 8 years he's been in the league, because 1 year he completely missed. So one time he's been available for 65, the postseason awards. You make that trade and he's not available. You know what everybody was saying, including you? How can you trade for such an off-injured player? Hi, Marcus Davenport. Now, slightly different because Davenport wasn't nearly as productive. I'm not trading for guys like that. I'm not giving up all these resources that you've built up to trade for guys like that. You want Ja Morant, you can have Ja Morant. No way would I want him.
No, and I think most people would agree the Pistons have to make a move. You have to use your assets, wisely. It's got to be somebody who's got some kind of track record that, definitely has availability, right? Has played. I don't think anybody's asking for somebody to come to this team that's played 20 games, the last few years or whatever. I think that'd be a major mistake.
Andy, do you think chemistry? Jim Leland once said it's a class in school. Do you think it's important?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's important for the team. I don't think you want to break up the room in a way to where people are going to be upset, but like they kind of did that this past offseason. I mean, they they had Tim Hardaway a year ago, and I'm also forgetting who else right now in my head. His name's just blanking me, who they didn't bring back. But like, it's not
Malik
like
Beasley. You're saying
Malik
Tim
Beasley.
Hardaway
Yeah,
Jr.?
obviously, then that wasn't really the Pistons' decision. But yeah, that's obviously a couple of the guys that were in the room last year were gone, and they still found a way to be better this year. So I think that's more like you're on your leaders to keep it that way. And I think the Pistons want to find somebody that fits their culture, right? That fits like how they play and is willing to play defense and everything else. That's not just easy to find. So they have to find the right guy too, I feel like.
Yeah, look, when you've got suspensions on your resume, okay, when you are polarizing, when you are alienated by your teammates, at least that's what the reports were about Ja Morant, I'm stunned that anybody would actually text, call, or get involved in the chat saying that's a guy that I would go get.
I mean, it's a crazy one. I have not heard that. And I mean, that's like, that goes beyond just like a guy, like maybe not fitting with the culture. That's a guy probably coming in and just, starting to tear down the culture.
I mean, look, you know why he was suspended? He was suspended by the team.
Right.
Because of conduct detrimental to the team. So you got people saying the guy's tone deaf, that he's dismissive. You want that player? Are you kidding me? That's stunning to me. Shep, JB Bickerstaff extended so fast during the playoffs. Kind of odd timing. Yeah, I found it a little strange. Yeah, I agree with that. Not that it was premature, but you would think that might be something used in the offseason, not in the postseason. If Franz Wagner doesn't get hurt, do you think he's extended? I think he's extended no matter what. I thought you meant if Franz Wagner didn't get hurt, would Detroit have beaten Orlando? Now, that's a different conversation. You're losing a massive piece if you're the Magic there. He's a really important piece. Shep, Marcus Sasser needs to be giving a bigger role next year to see what they got in him as a 6th, 7th guy coming off the bench to help Cade not handle the ball. I think that's a hard thing to dispute. I would agree with that. I would have liked to have seen him a little bit more. So here's the question, though, that you have to ask yourself. Sasser or Jenkins? Sasser did play 23 minutes last night, and he scored 9 points. He's got to be a better shooter. He was 3 for 12. If there's another guy that goes 3 for 12, are you saying that about them? Probably not, because perhaps that player has given you more of a sample size. I am not going to move heaven and earth for Marcus Sasser, but I would have liked to have seen him get a little bit more playing time this year. Now, in fairness, Danish Jenkins has done a really nice job. For the most part. It's a broad brush, okay? He's done a pretty nice job. So do you think Marcus Sasser was the difference between success and the lack thereof? No, I don't. But he is a guy that because you drafted him, you'd like to see him a little bit more involved and see what takes place. So I get that. I just wonder at whose minutes does that come as an expense to. Quick timeout. This hour has been brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth. 7:18, Mitch Lyons joins us for Mondays with Mitch. 8:18, I want your hero and heel from the weekend on X's and Bros.
Dad, here's 3 reasons why we should go to the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give.
Okay.
1, you can spend Father's Day weekend with some real golfers.
Ouch.
2, it's a good time for a good cause. Foodie fun, family fun, and fun helping feed neighbors in need.
And 3.
3, do you really need another reason?
Join the fun June 18th through 21st at the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give. Learn more and get tickets at MeyerLPGAClassic.com.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at FreddieThePizzaMan.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddieThePizzaMan.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. Just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements, this center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Celebrate the soul of folk and Americana. The Lumineers Automatic World Tour comes to Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort Sunday night, July 19th, with special guest Josiah and the Bonnevilles, part of the Soaring Eagle Outdoor Summer Concert Series. Tickets start at $67 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. Showtime 8 p.m. See the Lumineers live with Josiah and the Bonnevilles, July 19th at Soaring Eagle Casino, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Yeah, it's, I don't want to be overreactionary. Having not watched it, I gotta watch it and probably give you a better answer. Quite frankly, I think, just we didn't come out with the right disposition for against that, and that was apparent through all the areas that we sort of pride ourselves on this year. Areas that at the end of the day we always felt like we could compete with and win. We didn't win those. You got to give credit to them because they just came out with a force and a pace that we weren't able to match.
Duncan Robinson following the loss last night. Welcome back. X's and Bros Monday through Friday, 6 until 9 throughout the great state of Michigan on the Michigan Sports Network. We had mentioned superstars earlier. I don't think you have to have another superstar. I do think I've said this all year long. The thing that concerns me about this team, even when they were on their route to 60 wins, was another ball handler, an opportunity to get the ball out of Cade Cunningham's hands and give him a little bit more freedom to do things without the basketball while trusting the person who was currently with the ball in hand. That at times has been Dennis Jenkins. You watch the offense with Dennis Jenkins. He does a lot of dribbling. And I don't like that. Not that I don't like him. I think he's an incredible story and it's a lot of fun to follow. And he's a guy who gave you a lot of really good effort and a lot of really good minutes. All right. But you do need somebody else who can handle the basketball to get Cade Cunningham off the spot. And you do need another shooter and scorer. Easy for me to say, not an easy solution for Trajan Langdon. But I do believe he's a guy who has, so far has earned your trust to make that move. Who's expendable? These are all things that we can get into as the offseason continues, unfortunately. And God knows there'll be time to talk about it, considering the Tigers lost last night or yesterday to the Blue Jays. And Detroit is now it's a difficult watch right now. They're not a fun team to watch. They're 20-27. Okay. 47 games deep. It's getting close to my 50 game threshold of feeling like you know what this team is about. But as I mentioned earlier, you thought you identified this team last year. Think about it. The last 2 years in baseball, last year you thought you knew who this team was because they built a huge lead before fading after the All-Star game. Remember? Okay. 2 years ago, you thought you knew who this team was because they stunk up the first half of the season only to catch fire in the second half of the year. Jekyll, Hyde, whatever you want to term it. It's a tough team to figure out. I would be careful on saying the season is over, this team is terrible, because of what we've experienced over the last 2 years when we thought we had this team identified and we weren't close to being correct either year.
Yeah, even like I said 40 games. It's one of those things that's just either way. It can with this team, the way the last 2 seasons have went, how can you possibly know what's going to happen? Plus, they're not like the version of themselves they might be if they do actually all get healthy at the same time again.
Yeah, I thought a lot of people would say something like that, and I've gone back to this time and time again. Are they lacking their left fielder? They are not. Are they lacking their center fielder? The guy playing center field, Matt Vierling, is probably better than the guy, at least offensively for sure, than the guy who is hurt. Are they missing Kerry Carpenter? I guess he's been off to an awful start. First baseman, who are you missing? Second baseman, Torres on base. Yes, you're missing. Are you missing your shortstop? Kevin McDonald has been pretty good there, right? You're not missing your catcher. You're missing Skubal. You've got Mize back. I would say yes. You would like to see this team healthy, but do you really think it's going to be drastically different considering what you saw before? Look, not the batting average is everything, Andy, but you just said we need our guys back. Kerry Carpenter's batting .216, bud. I mean, come on. He's got an on-base percentage under 30%. It's under 300. Are you missing that? Think about it for a minute.
No, I was more thinking like Will Vest and Bo Brisky in the bullpens. Their bullpen's been terrible. I would like to see both those arms come back. And I think that Javier Baez is as much as problems as I've had with him. I do think that he was actually doing he was one of the better players for them offensively before he got hurt. So, and Gleyber Torres, not my favorite player either in the world, but yeah, he does get on base and does help move things around. I'm not saying that the injuries are everything right now. It's just for me. I'm saying that's why you got to be careful about what you say about this team. Like they might be a different team when they're all healthy. Because another thing, if you do believe in chemistry at all, I feel like when you're missing some of those guys, that does matter too. So that's the only reason. But I agree with you. They didn't add enough to this team because the depth is kind of showing right now.
Sure. Yeah. I think those are all very good points. I do. The Will Vest example is a really strange one. It is. I want you to think about this for just a minute. I'm not ripping on your argument, okay? That's not fair because this team isn't whole, and you would like to judge them as a whole club instead of missing as many parts. So I think that's fair. You bring up Will Vest. He's got a 6.17 ERA and a WHIP of 1.45 with no saves, 10 runs in 11 innings. You really missed him?
No, and I mean, I don't know if he was hurt when he was pitching. I have no information on that, just based off the fact that he went in the IL and his velocity seemed to be down a lot. A couple of the broadcasts, they mentioned it towards the last couple. I mean, he was just a big part of their bullpen last year. You'd like to see if he could work his way out of it, but he's not even pitching right now for them. So it's hard to see or know.
Okay. I think that's one of those, if those numbers, if he hadn't gotten hurt and he's looking at those numbers, you and I are both going, that guy's got to be replaced.
Sure. If he kept up at that, I can't disagree.
Parker Meadows batting 250, no power, on base percentage at 30. And we're missing him? Javier Baez is 250 and he's got an OBP of 28. He's got an OBP of 280 and a slug of 397. And we're missing him? This is my issue. We're missing guys. We're talking about this team like it's the 27 Yankees and all these missing pieces. Once you get them back, everything's going to be fine. It wasn't fine when they were healthy, dude.
No, I mean, they're treading 500 water. So yeah, the point is definitely taken, and I understand it for sure. I just wish that I could have seen it through, I guess, before they got hurt. But
I think it's a very convenient excuse.
Yeah, it's not the reason for me why they're bad.
Okay.
I mean,
at
the end of the day, it's not it. I felt like they didn't add enough to this team offensively in the offseason. So that's been the problem. I mean, it's just like
100%.
Either way, I would go back on the same thing and say that this is like an issue that they've had for years now with not adding the correct bat in this lineup.
I want you to think about this. They used a pinch hitter who's batting 192 yesterday.
Yeah, it's insane.
So when I talk about the right-handed power, if your right-handed power is Jahmai Jones coming off the bench, you've got deep-rooted issues.
I mean, Gage Workman pinch hit a couple of days ago, I'm pretty sure, for somebody. He came in and he struck out his next two bats.
Yeah, and he's batting 2.25. And again, maybe I get too caught up in that. His on-base percentage is 2.25. I mentioned Matt Vierling better than Parker Meadows. Matt Vierling's batting 200, 205. Really? Let me give you the numbers real quick. What's important to you? On base, slugging, what is it? What's really important? Here's the slugging numbers for some of the guys. 357, 369, 260, 253 in that lineup yesterday.
It's awful, man. It's awful.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what people are looking for. They think the guys who are hurt are coming back to be saviors when the guys who were hurt were part of the problem going into it. Doesn't mean they're out of it. Doesn't mean they can't right the proverbial ship. It just means be careful when you think you're going to blame it all on injuries. Because a lot of those guys you didn't want here anyway. We'll talk about it with Mitch Lyons. He joins us on the other side. Mondays with Mitch. brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth. This is X's and Bros on a Monday morning, brought to you by our friends at Meyer.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Celebrate the soul of folk and Americana. The Lumineers Automatic World Tour comes to Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort Sunday night, July 19th, with special guest Josiah and the Bonnevilles, part of the Soaring Eagle Outdoor Summer Concert Series. Tickets start at $67 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. Showtime 8 p.m. See the Lumineers live with Josiah and the Bonnevilles, July 19th at Soaring Eagle Casino, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sportsnet. Sign up like the Ute Show did with the Detroit Sportsnet Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
18 after the hour. Welcome back. X's and Bros, Monday through Friday. Knicks, Spurs, and Cavs all clinched conference finals berths with 30-plus point road wins. Before this postseason, no NBA playoff run had ever finished with 3 30-point road blowouts to clinch a series. The Pistons were part of that, unfortunately. Mondays with Mitch Lyons. Mitch Lyons Wealth joins us here on X's and Bros. Hope you had a good weekend, my friend. I know there's a lot to get to. There's a ton that I want to ask you about. First, your thoughts on the Pistons. I know that's generic. I know it runs deep, but there's a lot to get to there. What was your thought on the Pistons Game 7, first and foremost, and then what's your overall takeaway from this team?
Oh, man. Yesterday's performance, no words, Shep. And I know that doesn't make for great radio, but I was stunned. I just, coming off the big win in Game 6 to dig down deep to get that win on the road and then come back and lay an egg like they did in Game 7. And there was never even a moment of hope in that game. I mean, the Cavs smacked them from the get-go, made shots. Our rim defense was nowhere to be found. For as tough as we've been on defense all year, I thought they embarrassed us inside. Donovan Mitchell was the superstar that you need to step up in that moment. He started, right off, just destroying us, breaking down our defense, getting his teammates some easy buckets. And it just kind of steamrolled from there. I mean, a guy like Merrill comes off the bench and lights us up. They did everything they need. Tip your cap to them. The Pistons just did not play well. And frankly, I thought they got out hustled and out efforted, which is not something I thought I'd say about this Pistons team in a Game 7 at home.
Our Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question, what was the biggest disappointment? The shooting, the defense, the coaching, or the officiating? How would you answer that?
It's easy to, blame officials and all that, but you don't lose a game by 30-something because of the officials. I thought our defense was nothing like we'd seen all year. They had a lot of easy buckets at the rim, like I said. I didn't see the rim protection, and I don't know. They just left guys uncovered at times and flashed to them and then let them go in for a dunk. It was frustrating to watch, disappointing. Great season overall, I would say, but that is not the way you want to end it and go on vacation. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's easy to get, emotional about a loss like that. And quite honestly, when you get blown out, I suppose maybe it might even be a little less emotional. But at some point, you and I are going to talk about pumping the brakes and looking back, reflecting back on an entire season. When you do that, how would you categorize it?
Well, I think they're on the right track, right? I mean, 60 wins. I don't think anybody was picking them to win 60 games this year. And for crying out loud, 2 years ago, Shep, nobody was saying they were going to be anywhere near a 60-win team two years down the road. So we need to keep that in perspective. Maybe hopes, got a little high with them being the number 1 seed, but they earned that number 1 seed. They played great the entire season. Were consistent effort, hustle defense, and for whatever reason, it just didn't come together in that Game 7. And quite frankly, I know you said this earlier. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, they had a fortunate break in the first series with Wagner going down, and maybe they didn't even belong in this series. But the bottom line is a good season. They need some tweaks. They got to get some help for Cade, a consistent second scorer. I think they've got some really good pieces. You saw some guys step up. Jenkins, I thought, stepped up throughout the playoffs and earned his time. But overall, just a gut-wrenching performance in Game 7. But you can't lose sight of the big picture that this team's definitely a lot better off than they were 2 years ago.
Mitch Lyons joining us here on X's and Bros. MitchLyonsWealth.com. Call him today, 866-85-STEEL. Sign up for his free newsletter. A digital copy of his book is on the website, MitchLyonsWealth.com. And you get if you go to their website right now, they've got people who can protect and really help you with your finances moving forward. Get their Roth Blueprint offer. Call and speak with one of the pros at Mitch Lyons Wealth to see if a Roth conversion makes a lot of sense to you. It's Cleveland and the Knicks. It's OKC and the Spurs. Who do you think wins each conference finals?
I think the Knicks, they should be well rested. We'll see if they've rusted. They were playing really, really well, but then you take more than a week off. We'll see how they come out in that Game 1. That'll be a critical start to that. So I think if Cleveland can go in there and get a win in Game 1 with the momentum they have coming off the last series, and frankly, just playing as well as they played in Game 7. If they can continue to shoot anywhere near like that, and Mitchell be the facilitator he was in that game, they've got a shot. But I like the Knicks with the home court. The other side's going to be an entertaining series. I do like OKC in that one, but I think that'll be a 6 or 7 gamer, and it's going to be a tough, hard-fought series.
Tigers are slumping again. They've lost 8 of 10. They've lost 4 straight series. They've lost 6 of their last 7 series. What's their biggest issue in your mind?
Well, it's the same thing we saw the whole second half of last year, Shep. We can't hit the ball. I mean, there's times, where the pitching's not great either, but the pitching's been pretty good these last 4 games. And the problem is you look at their lineup, and then you might have mentioned this earlier, but, I mean, I'm looking at their last 5 hitters in the lineup. And you got McGonigal, you got Dingler. They're holding their weight. Riley Green's obviously off to a good start. Cole Keith's hitting for good average, not a whole lot of power numbers, but then you get into 207, 227, 182, 196, and 168 in their lineup yesterday. You're not going to win baseball games with that kind of lineup going in there, and it's just a continuation of what we saw last year and why they lost the Central last year to the Guardians.
Yeah, and Kevin McGonigal, as much as we like him, he's hitting 200 over the last couple of weeks. I told people before the season began, he's going to have some downs. There's no question. I mean, he's a good young player, but he's going to have a rough patch. It's how you come out of the rough patch. Every athlete does, and you know what that's like. What do you like and dislike about the Lions schedule that came out earlier this week or last week?
Well, I like I don't like that they have the bye that early. I'd like to see it more middle of the year, but that's just chance there. But I love I like the start. I think they've got a few winnable games to get some momentum going before that bye week. They're going to have a tough one on the road to the Bills and their stadium home opener. But other than that, I mean, I kind of like the way that lines up for them heading into the bye. You come out of the bye and you're going to have a couple tough ones back to back with Green Bay and the Vikes. And then that finish is going to be a bit of a killer. We get Vikings, Giants, Bears, and Packers. I mean, that's going to be able to where you're going to be able to make your hay. With the in-division rivals, and obviously NFL loves that. I'm sure that's going to be some must-see TV. But bottom line is, Shep, they've got to stay healthier than they have this year. I think they've taken the steps on the offensive line to get their offense back on par with what we've been accustomed with. And that's going to keep them in every game. I think they'll have a shot pretty much in every game. If they can get anybody healthy on defense and keep them healthy, this team, I think, has a chance to make a run in the playoffs again.
Yeah, you want to make the season, you divide it into quarters, right? Did you guys always do that, too, when you played for the Steelers and the Falcons?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Try to get 3-1 every 4 games, and just play it in chunks, and don't worry about the 16 games. Worry about the next one. Worry about that 4-game season, and if you can at least get through everyone 2-2 and throw a couple 3 wins in there, you're going to be in the playoffs. And if you can string them all together and get 3-1s, you're going to be a pretty high seed in the playoffs. So
yeah,
it's important to break
you
it down
win your
like
division.
that.
Yeah, you do that, you win your division. A lot of guys over the weekend complaining about the PGA Championship setup. What's the hardest course you ever played?
Oh boy, Oakland Hills, South Course was a tough one. The Bear up at Traverse City always kicks my butt too.
Okay.
Those deep bunkers, not real strength of my game, but I remember putting one on Oakland Hills and just missed the ridge and rolled it right into a pond versus the hole. So that was fun. So, but that's a pretty tough course.
Yeah, that is tough. The greens are brutal. It's wide open now, but the greens are still brutal. Who's your Aaron Rye was fantastic yesterday. Ton of credit for him. First player from England to win the PGA since 1919. Who's your favorite player to watch?
For me, it's really 2 guys, Scotty and Rory, and it's just because they're just so consistently good. I love watching them and how they just, even on their, like Scotty wasn't playing his best golf, but just the calm demeanor they maintain. You don't really ever see them lose their cool, and they're just so steady and so consistent. And so I enjoy watching them. But yeah, Rye was amazing, and what a way to finish. I mean, that was a log jam at the top of the leaderboard, and then he just would have finished those last 10 holes. I think he was 600 the last 10. That was fun to watch, and out there hacking around with 2 gloves on. It was fun to see.
Yeah, and covering his irons. Scotty Scheffler missed 10 putts from 6 feet the entire week. Sometimes that makes you almost feel good as an amateur golfer. Mitch, great to visit as always. Have a great week, my friend.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, all the best. Mitch Lyons, MitchLyonsWealth.com. BrO's.com, joining us as he does every Monday at 7:18 for Mondays with Mitch. We're back with more after this.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Huge here for Josh Garvey and his team at Dorn Mayhew. Now, Josh oversees the West Michigan operations. Dorn Mayhew's worldwide headquarters are in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. They are one of the top accounting, CPA, and business firms in the world. They continue to grow. They can help your business with any accounting, CPA, or business need you have. And also Dorn Mayhew and Josh and the West Michigan operation, they present Talking Hoops with John Beeline. We do it every Tuesday on the Huge Show through the NBA Finals. So how far will the Pistons go in the playoffs? You can hear Coach Beeline, Josh Garvey, and myself every Tuesday on the Huge Show as we talk hoops, presented by one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms, Dorn Mayhew. Josh Garvey oversees the West Michigan operation. Their worldwide headquarters for Dorn Mayhew are in Troy, Michigan.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sports Net. Sign up like the Huge Show did with the Detroit Sports Net Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
These guys have improved massively and done a great job. Anything other than positivity towards this group, like, is unacceptable. The turnaround from where we come from, what these guys have been willing to do. Yeah, everybody wants to win a championship every year. But, how much did you grow? How much did you improve? Did you sacrifice for the greater good of the team? Our guys did that collectively every single day. And we got better. We put ourselves in position to be here. So there's nothing disappointing about this group and the outcome of this.
JB Bickerstaff after the loss last night in Game 7 to Cleveland that allows the Cavs to move into the Eastern Conference Finals, and they do that convincingly at LCA. Final score 125-94. They're into the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2008. Andy, was it embarrassing?
Last night?
A lot of people on social media say, what an embarrassing performance. Was it embarrassing?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, you got a game at home, and everybody's fired up for it. You play the way you did in Game 6 to get there, and then you shoot like that. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't call the team embarrassing as a whole, like overall for the season or anything like that. But, I mean, last night it felt embarrassing, yeah.
Okay. I found it disappointing, frustrating. I wouldn't say I wouldn't use the word embarrassing, but some people have. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that wouldn't be a word I used. Shai Gilgeous, one thing I didn't bring up during the headlines, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won the MVP. His second straight. He collected 83 of 100 first-place votes. Nikola Jokic came in second, then Victor Wembanyama. Cade Cunningham finished fifth, receiving 2 first-place votes. Do you think he was worthy? Here's the reason I ask. Who led the league in points per game? Luka Doncic. Who led the league in rebounds per game? Nikola Jokic. Who led the league in assists per game? Nikola Jokic.
Yep.
Who led the league in blocks per game? Victor Wembanyama. It was an overwhelming nod to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Not even just top 5 in a lot of other categories. I'm not saying you have to lead him in every single category, and I'm not saying you have to lead the league in at least one, because numbers can be deceiving. There is a legitimate discussion that is worth having. That Nikola Jokic, who has won 3 MVPs, this year will be an all-NBA performer for the 8th time in his career. 8 times in 11 seasons, he will be all-NBA, should be all-NBA first team. That's super impressive. But he was the MVP in 2021. He was the MVP in 2022. He finished second in the league in 2023 to Joel Embiid. Okay? And a lot of people felt like that was a little bit of an injustice. Then he won the MVP again. And then last year, he finished second to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, even though Nikola Jokic averaged 26.5 points, 10 assists, and 13 rebounds per game. This year, he led the league in defensive rebounds, total rebounds, and assists, while averaging 28 points per game.
It's hard to argue.
Best.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with the numbers. Like, you have to wonder, like, does a triple-double, like averaging a triple-double, how much are people taking that into account when you're talking about an MVP? Because it feels like the numbers he puts up consistently are hard to argue with any year.
Yeah. The big deal people have made in the past is when Steve Nash beat Shaquille O'Neal in the MVP race. People are like, oh, I can't believe this. I get it. Where is the outcry for this? I don't. This dude he's been MVP 3 times. He had his best year this year, and he doesn't win. It's one thing not winning. It's another thing losing decisively the way he has. 83 of the 100 votes for first place went to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think it's a completely legitimate discussion to have. Very, very odd. Let me get to some more texts. Andy, I believe you got one there for us. Fire away.
Yeah, I do. It's John from Shepard again. He's texted a few times, so we appreciate it. He said he wasn't able to watch the game. The box score shows 46-29 free throw attempts. He's talking about Cleveland having 46 and the Pistons having 29. He says, is that accurate? Was there more to those numbers, or were the officials not calling it at both ends?
I thought the embellishment on the part, again, here's the hesitation, John, and I appreciate the text very much. The hesitation I have sometimes by going there, it makes you sound like you're using it as an excuse. The reason the Pistons lost the game is because they shot 31% and allowed Cleveland to shoot 51%. The free throws are a factor, but they're not the main factor.
In games like Game 5, I feel like you could point to it a little bit more with the officiating because it was a closer game and the Pistons played a better game. But like last night, how can you? I mean, they played so bad in so many areas, I feel like.
Is it fair to say you want players to decide the outcome?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the exact same thing. I think when referees become a story, that's a problem.
Yep.
And I think at times they have done that. So, for example, as Andy had mentioned, the Game 5 overtime decision maker, the Cleveland won 117-113. Cleveland went to the line 38 times. Detroit 20. And the Pistons are an aggressive team, John, as you know. But it's for some reason or another, that was not the case.
And yeah, they drew plenty of fouls. It felt like in that game, it didn't get called.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to blame it just on the one play, but if they call that foul at the end of that game on Asar Thompson, like they should have, and somehow the league reviewed it and said it wasn't a foul still, which doesn't make any sense. If they called that a foul, he's probably making one of those two free throws, and this doesn't even get to Game 7.
I would say Game 4 was more egregious. Detroit went to the line 12 times. Cleveland went to the line 34 times.
Yeah, the numbers are staggering.
Not that, and John, it's not that every single game has to be balanced. The team that is aggressive is going to get awarded or rewarded in this case, for example. But I want you to think about something for a minute. In that game in which Cleveland went to the free throw line 34 times, they took 41 threes. That to me is worth investigating.
Yeah.
Again, we're not saying that it's the reason they lost. That's an out. That's cheap. That's bullcrap. I'm giving Cleveland all kinds of credit for Game 7. But even the most passionate, objective, and even Cleveland supporter would understand why somebody would at least argue that it was lopsided in certain games. When games 4 through 7, 4, 5, 6, and 7, when one team is going to the line 66 times more than the other, that is worth a head shake, a shoulder shrug, and a quizzical look.
Yeah, and I mean, the acting job they were doing to get some of the fouls, it was working at the end of the day. They were giving them the calls. So
whose fault is that? Is it Cleveland's fault for embellishing and embarrassing? And is it the referee's fault for giving them the whistle? Or is it the Pistons' fault for an unwillingness to do the same thing?
That's where I was kind of going with that. It's like at the end of the day, it's a dumb thing to say, but like it sounds dumb, but the Pistons could have done the same thing maybe and got the same calls. We're never going to know the answer to that. But I mean, overall, I think most people would put the blame on the refs, and that kind of makes sense because they are paid to do their job the correct way, right? But yeah, I mean, the Pistons could have adjusted and adapted that. It just feels like with the way that they're built and the way that their culture is, like they refuse to act like that out there. Because I mean, what James Harden was doing was just insane.
You and I are on the exact same page there, Andy. Where does that get you? Do you think people around the country covering the NBA or just having a casual conversation about the league, do you think anybody around the country right now is going, yeah, but at least the Pistons weren't flopping? Anybody? Do you think anybody outside of New York is saying that about the Knicks? Do you think they're going, but they flop a lot? Cleveland, you think anybody in Cleveland saying that? You think people in New York are saying Cleveland flops a lot? Do you think people in Oklahoma City are saying that? Because nobody does it as much as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Hell no. Do you think any team cares that they get to the conference finals and others around the country are saying, you guys are an embarrassment, you keep flopping? Hell no. I don't like that style of ball. But if a team's going to get rewarded for it, wouldn't you start telling your team to start maybe doing something similar?
Until the officials make a change, how else can you keep up with it?
How's it any different than any other sport? If a team's getting away with a cornerback holding receivers at the line of scrimmage and they're not going to call it, wouldn't you tell your team to start doing the same thing?
You have to.
Okay. I mean, come on. But here's what it is. In games 4 through 7, it literally is the Detroit versus everybody mentality. People truly feel like you're doing us wrong. The Lions asking for a timeout. The Packers calling for a timeout, getting it even though the play was already run. Do you remember that play at home?
I do.
Okay. It's Detroit versus everybody. And it's the same thing in this series. Don't you feel like you've got to adjust? Isn't that part of an adjustment? That's all I'm asking. I think it's part of an adjustment. You have to recognize how a game or a series is being called.
Yeah, and
adjust accordingly.
It's tough to tell a player to switch up their style, I guess, too. Like middle of a series, be like, yeah, just start, floundering around when you don't do it, maybe. But I feel like you have to try. I don't know how you can't. I mean, if that's what the officials are going to do, you have to try to do the same thing to see if you get the calls, because then you have even more of a beef if for whatever reason they're not calling the fouls on you.
Yeah. If that's how you're going to call it, I'm going to have my guys do the exact same thing. And that'll make you look even worse. It's bad enough that you're calling a foul on us every time James Harden has, somebody even blowing his ear. But if that's what you're going to call, I'm going to have my guys doing the same thing. And if you're not going to call it for our team, we have an even bigger gripe with the league. So, hey, refs, when we meet before the game, I just want you guys to know, if that's how you're going to call it, knowing that you get judged after every game, you get graded on whether or not you get another series, my guys, I've instructed them to do the exact same thing. But unfortunately, Detroit was able to do this. All right, back to some texts. Let's see. You were right. What happened to beef stew? You can get Ja Morant and or Zion Williamson for peanuts on the dollar and bring them in under Cade's leadership. I think it could work. If not for Cade, I would not even think about doing it. So if this is my belief, I've been pretty steadfast on this. If you think your culture is super strong, it shouldn't matter bringing in one guy who maybe is outside the culture, because you've got enough guys within your culture who have preached it. This is the way we do things. Here's the issue. If they don't adhere to it, and those guys were leaders on their teams, and those teams haven't been successful because of that leadership or lack thereof, if they come in, how willing are they to adapt and conform, knowing that they've led a different way? If you got enough leaders to say, that's not how we do things here, will you have enough if you have to trade a bunch of them to get that guy? And what if they don't conform? What if they are the same guy they were before? players on that team or those teams couldn't reach them, what if you can't reach them? That's a problem. Shep, how has chemistry worked on the Lions? Do the Cavaliers have chemistry or do they have talent? Talent wins. The only way I could consider either of those trades is because Cade Cunningham and his leadership, and even JB to a point. That's a great question. It's easy to say we got chemistry when you win. Does it matter the chemistry is in your clubhouse or your locker room if you're not winning?
Absolutely. Yeah. No doubt. You got to have somebody there for that.
Shep, how does Tom Gores allow Dan Gilbert to ship in thousands of fans over the series? Well, Dan Gilbert bought the tickets. So if you're the owner, you're supposed to buy the tickets and do what with them? Dan Gilbert goes and buys 8 bus loads worth of tickets. I forget how many were on each bus load. But I saw a little snippet on this. You got a T-shirt, a ticket, and a pregame meal, and a bus trip to Detroit for as a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. 8 buses. I don't know how much each held, but let's say thousands. What's Tom Gores supposed to do about that? Don't let Cleveland buy them. I'll buy them from myself or from that third party, if you will, Ticketmaster. I'm going to buy them and then do what with them? You going to sell them? You going to hand them out? What do you... I'm not sure. Instead of blaming the owner, how about blaming fans? Why didn't we buy them? Why didn't Detroit Pistons fans buy them? We got our hero and heel coming up at 8:18. Looking forward to that as always. Our phone number on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. You can text the program, Sports Radio 21,000. And, of course, you can get involved in the chat on X, on Facebook, or on YouTube. By the way, we had talked about the Tigers lost to Toronto 4-1. Makes sense. Gabe Workman, 7 punch-outs in his last 10 plate appearances. Okay? 1 for 10 with 7 Ks in his last, actually 11. All right? The Tigers offense, here's what's happened since April 28th. Barrel percentage, 24th in the league. Hard hit rate, 26th in the league. Weighted runs created plus, which means home and away, 27th in the league. So since April 28th, you've got guys like Torkelson batting $160, McGonigal batting 200, 220, whatever it is. Perez 216, Veerling 218. Jahmai Jones is 3 for 21. Colt Keith 273, but he only has 1 extra base hit. Like, I see people ripping on Colt Keith. That's fine. He's part of what's been part of the issue. What about all the other guys? We pick out a certain guy we don't like, and we just hammer that guy on a regular basis. Hero and Heel, 818. Back with more on X's and Bros. We're brought to you this hour by Meyer.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com. Huge here for Josh Garvey and his team at Dorn Mayhew. Now, Josh oversees the West Michigan operations. Dorn Mayhew's worldwide headquarters are in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. They are one of the top accounting, CPA, and business firms in the world. They continue to grow. They can help your business with any accounting, CPA, or business need you have. And also Dorn Mayhew and Josh and the West Michigan operation, they present Talking Hoops with John Beeline. We do it every Tuesday on the Huge Show through the NBA Finals. So how far will the Pistons go in the playoffs? You can hear Coach Beeline, Josh Garvey, and myself every Tuesday on the Huge Show as we talk hoops, presented by one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms, Dorn Mayhew. Josh Garvey oversees the West Michigan operation. Their worldwide headquarters for Dorn Mayhew are in Troy, Michigan.
Dad, here's 3 reasons why we should go to the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give.
Okay.
1, you can spend Father's Day weekend with some real golfers.
Ouch.
2, it's a good time for a good cause. Foodie fun, family fun, and fun helping feed neighbors in need.
And 3.
3, do you really need another reason?
Join the fun June 18th through 21st at the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give. Learn more and get tickets at MeyerLPGAClassic.com.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
he kept this thing together this year when things weren't going great. He was the beacon, the light. His leadership carried us on the court, right? Sam Merrill out 30 games, Evan out, J.A. out. He was the guy that carried us. And then when things weren't going great, he was the person everyone looked to.
So Kenny Atkinson, the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were impressive winners last night, for sure. And he's talking about Donovan Mitchell. The beacon, the light, maybe a little bit too biblical there.
Yeah, those words are interesting for sure.
Yeah, he's the beacon, he's the light. People saw him in the clouds and they started walking toward the star that was Donovan Mitchell.
Have you seen all the stuff about him like sitting down during the games, like not standing on the sidelines? If I was a coach, I could never sit down for that long. Like, I don't know if you see, like, if you noticed that about him, but like most of the game he sits, and I've never understood that. Like Grand Valley's women's basketball coach, I covered them through their NCAA tournament run. He always sits. It's like, when I do my stuff for Wood, like you're trying to get a camera shot of him, like walking around, never standing. And I'm just like, dude, how are you sitting down during these moments? I don't understand it.
Well,
I feel like I would be up. Like I just couldn't sit down.
I would be probably too. Do I want? I mean, every coach is different. First and foremost, why is it important that they stand?
It's not important. I'm saying for me, if it was me, if I was the coach, there's no way I could sit down during a game like this. I just think about how I watch as a fan. Like,
yes, yeah. I'm with you there. I think it shows great resolve. Casey Jones, 1983 Boston Celtics NBA championship. He sat a lot. Pat Riley stood a lot. Chuck Daly stood a lot. Why? I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I don't know the answer to that. J.B. Bickerstaff stands constantly. He's walking up and
down.
He
can't sit down,
Yeah, he can't sit down. I don't know, man. I just, again, to each his own. If it works for him, fine. He was coach of the year last year, has his team in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 2008. I wouldn't expect him to change. Donovan Mitchell had 26. The beacon, the light, had 36 or 26 in 31 minutes. So really good. There were a lot of people during the season who were questioning Donovan Mitchell a little bit because of feeling like he was almost undermining certain people within the organization. I don't know if you know this. Tigers lose the series to Toronto. So they've lost 4 straight series. They've lost 5 of their last 6 series. They lose 4-1 yesterday. Did you recognize over the weekend what Major League Baseball did?
No, not until we were just talking about it.
Yeah, they had what they called a rivalry weekend.
I mean, I get it now, I guess, with the Tigers playing Toronto. But
let me ask you, who's Detroit's rival?
I feel like, rivalries are so weird, especially in sports where maybe they don't come up as much. I think with the Tigers right now, it would have been Cleveland just because of the past, a couple of years with their matchups in the playoffs and stuff. You could say that they just have had, beef with that. So like it actually got like traction a lot. I felt like on social media and stuff when they were playing each other, like the fans really ripping at each other, But,
sure. And I think it helps when, the Pistons are playing the Cavs.
Right. Yeah.
It's interesting. Are there rivals in all 4 sports across the board? If the Pistons' rival is Cleveland, is that the rival in baseball? You could argue that.
Yeah, you can say Michigan, Ohio in general is a rivalry.
Yes. Is it a rivalry in football? No. Lions-Browns is not a rivalry. They play in the preseason, for crying out loud. And there is no hockey team in Ohio, so that can't be universal. I think a lot of people just feel like rivalries have to be like within state. Here are the rivals that MLB sold us on. All right. Diamondbacks, Rockies. You buying it? Me either. Giants and A's. How convenient. San Francisco and Oakland are right next to one another. Marlins and Rays. I mean, you get the theme here, both in Florida and proximity. Orioles and Nationals. Proximity. Red Sox and Braves? That's a rivalry? Can you tell me when?
I have never heard that before in my life. That's crazy.
The Braves franchise originated in Boston. Tell me if Ronald Acuna Jr. knows that.
He does not know that.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy, man.
All right. The Padres and Mariners. You think so?
No.
No.
No. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Brewers and Twins. Again, proximity, I guess. Rangers and Astros, both in the state of Texas. Dodgers and Angels, in which the Dodgers outscored them 30-3. Yes, in the same city. Royals and Cardinals, legit. Royals and Cardinals is legit. And some of it has to do with the 1985 World Series. Reds and Guardians. So much for Cleveland. It's Cincy and Cleveland because they're both in the state of Ohio. It's the Phillies and Pirates. Paul Skeens on the mound yesterday. Phillies win it. Bryce Harper with a bomb to center field. Yankees and Mets makes a lot of sense, both in New York. And the Cubs and White Sox, both vying for loyalty in Chicago. Tigers and Blue Jays was the rivalry. And here's what they write. From 1967 through 97, these two teams were both in the AL East. And there were some hot division battles involving the two in the 80s. Okay. All right. That's what you're going to sell me on? That's what Major League Baseball is going to sell me on. They were in the same division, from 1967 through 1997. I mean, it's been 29 years, Andy, since they've been in the same division, but let's just use that as a plot, okay? Fine. 1987, for example, the 98 win Tigers won the division over the Jays by 2 games. Toronto and Detroit are relatively close in proximity too, but otherwise there isn't a ton left there. Both teams are planning to contend this season. Both were playoff teams a year ago. That's a weak excuse.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
You're manufacturing these rivalries.
Yeah, it feels like that's just like one of those things they're just trying to add, Like they're like, oh yeah, we just have to do this.
Rivalries come from within a division and seeing one another or having some epic matchups.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. It's not the same. Like, I feel like for me, it's always been like football is the one sport that feels like rivalries just kind of stick, and it has stayed like throughout.
I think you're right.
And
yeah, especially at the collegiate level.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. That's what,
but why is that? At the collegiate level, it's because they play every year.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. It's hard to call Notre Dame and Michigan a rival when they don't play every year.
Yeah.
But Michigan, Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, that's a rivalry.
I want to say, I feel like that Michigan Notre Dame contract, I feel like that does start again soon. I'm just thinking back to it, but yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. But I mean, but you understand where I'm coming from. I'm not saying that if Michigan plays Wisconsin every year, that's a rivalry. But part of the requisite, part of the ingredient, I believe, is you face one another.
Yeah, for sure. And there's just so much emphasis on one game in football, compared to like baseball. It's like a series in the season. You're going to see them again, maybe 2-3 more times, even if they're in the division. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to put it on one game, I guess.
I agree. But you look at the Tigers and Blue Jays as a rivalry. Maybe it's the closest thing they might have. I would think Cleveland, like you did, you would have hoped if there's one team or one rivalry that you could say reaches all of your 4 professional sports teams, it'd be Chicago. Tigers and White Sox may not be flashy, but Tigers play the White Sox because they're in the same division. Lions play the Bears. They're in the same division. Pistons and Bulls have a deep-rooted hatred for one another, and they're in the same division. And then, of course, you've got the Red Wings and Blackhawks as a regional 6, no longer in the same division, but play every year. And there's something to be said about it when you see those 2 sweaters on the ice at the same time. That's what I would guess is the rivalry. Instead, of course, they make it White Sox and Cubs, even though, despite being in the same city, it's really not a deep-rooted rivalry until they started playing interleague games. When we come back, Hero and Heel. We get yours and we give you ours. after this, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
In the Den with Dan Dickerson.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a day for winning. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, your getaway reimagined. This is obviously a tough time for the Tigers. The Tigers have now lost 10 of their last 12 to fall 7 games under the 500 mark. But if you're going to go through tough times, and all teams do, the guy you want at the helm is A.J. Hinch. A.J. has always been very forthright about stretches where his team is not playing well and consistent in how he talks about it. You acknowledge what's going on, address the things that need to be addressed, and you move on. AJ says you have to be careful not to get too emotional during the tough times. Make sure you keep guys grounded and balanced, and his constant communication with his team goes a long way in doing that. Players like consistency and the steadiness that comes with the approach of how do we win today's game. The Tigers know they have to continue to work, execute better, and play clean baseball. And when they do, the wins will follow.
Rod Stewart returns to Soaring Eagle Thursday, September 3rd. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series with special guest Richard Marks. Tickets start at $71 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com. One last time, Rod Stewart with Richard Marks, September 3rd, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sportsnet. Sign up like the Huge Show did with the Detroit Sportsnet Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to Shep. Don't forget the Huge Show later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
Okay, 18 after the hour. Welcome back on this Monday morning on X's and Bros. We're brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth, by Meyer, and by this hour by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort at 818. As always, we give you our hero and our heel. Who is the best and who is the worst? We'd love yours, so we welcome the texts at Sports Radio 21,000. We welcome the comments in the chat on X, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And you can always call us with your hero or hero at 866-838-4843. Freddie chimes back in. Hero Aaron Rai, a guy wins with 2 gloves, and we watched another golfer this year win with holding his backswing, Cam Young. 2 separate situations we just don't see. Not only does Aaron Rai wear 2 gloves, he also covers his irons, which oftentimes is viewed, at least with recreational golfers, as kind of geeky and silly and almost like you're a dork. I hate to say that, but it's true. I mean, I just played last Friday with my cousin, and he did that. I didn't realize he'd ever done that. I'm like, oh, you cover your irons? But Aaron Rai does that, and it's a great explanation in case you didn't know that. He does it because his parents saved up, when he was a kid, saved up so much money, worked really hard to get him the best equipment he possibly could. He wanted to take care of them. So it's a work habit, and it's a respect factor. Love that about him.
Yeah,
so that's a really good
awesome.
hero. Yeah, it really is. It's really cool. And it's funny that he writes that because that was my hero. My hero of the weekend was Aaron Rai, won the first major, carding a 565 Sunday to win the 108th playing of the PGA Championship and win the Wanamaker. It's just his second win on the tour. He had been a -3 for the tournament after 8 holes Sunday, then eagled 9, birdied 4 holes on the back 9, and won it by 3 shots over John Rahm. No one expected it. First player from England to win the title since 1919. Scotty Scheffler never mounted a charge. Rory McIlroy couldn't find a groove. The co-leaders after 3 rounds faded. Rai's 65 was the lowest round in a major he ever carded. By the way, not that he's my heel, but Rory McIlroy complained about the setup, went out, struggled mightily, and then tried to have somebody who screamed USA kicked out. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see it, yeah.
Yeah, he was in the thick stuff. He chunked it, and somebody said USA, and he turned around, and he got all pissy, and he asked for that person to be removed. He's become and then it makes it worse, Andy, when Trevor Immelman and everybody else, they glorify everything he does. I don't know if you've noticed that. Maybe I'm looking for it. But everything that Rory McIlroy does, well, it was a really tough spot. Anybody else does it, it's like, oh, that's just a terrible play.
Yeah, no.
They do that.
Sure.
No, they do. They do it all the time. They find ways to make excuses or cover things up slightly for him. It's kind of like, well, those things are going to happen, or that was a really tough shot anyway. But if anybody else is in there in the first place, you should have never been there. How dare you, right? They're just, it's incestuous, and I can't stand it.
Yeah, I totally get it. I've kind of noticed it too.
Yeah, it drives me crazy. You can tell. It is blatantly obvious of how they lick his boots. Anyway, my hero is Aaron Rai. Who's yours?
I'm going to stick local, and as tough as it's been to watch the Tigers right now, I think Casey Mize is my hero just because, well, everything has been negative right now. I think what he did coming off the IL was pretty impressive. In that start, a lot of people, when they come back, it feels like from an injury, will struggle for a minute and not be able to give their team the innings that they normally would be able to give when they have time off like that. And he gave them 6 innings, struck out 4, and his ERA right now is 2.43 in the season. So I think he's becoming he's becoming a good pitcher in this league. I feel like after a lot of people gave up on him. So.
I don't disagree with you there. I think that's a very good one. It kind of makes me wonder to people all the time, how long is long enough for you to see a pitcher or a player play? Now, if you think 4 years is enough, that's your choice. I don't know what the rule was for batters. It was always like 1,500 at bats. Okay. For pitchers, is 59 starts enough for you to get a gauge? I bet it would be for a lot of people. So I'm not going to sit there and blame them that after 59 starts, Casey Mize was 9-19. And you didn't see it. I understand that. I do. I get it. He had to earn his way. All right. He got injured in year 4. Remember that. Last year, he was a very good pitcher. Okay. Led the team in wins. I want to see him go deeper.
Absolutely.
I am tired. Yeah. I think what is required, if I'm getting a starting pitcher, I need him to go more than 6 innings all the time. It's a constant, and this is not always on Casey Mize, by the way. Sometimes this is on the manager. And you're going to be careful with him, right? Because he's coming off an injury. So 6 innings the other day was fine. But this is his year. 6 innings. Well, that's the first start. That's the excuse. Okay. 4 1/3, 5 2/3, 6 2/3, 6, 2 1/3, the injury in Atlanta, and then 6. He hasn't gone 7 innings this year. I need my pitchers to go more than that. All right. That said, I'm really happy for him. I'm happy because I think he's a good pitcher. I think his splitter is working really well, and I think the Tigers need him. So he's made 7 starts so far this year. He's got an ERA of, like you said, 2.43. You look at WHIP, it's 1.05. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, man, he's been good.
Yeah, so that's a good one. I appreciate that. Here's my heel. Let's see. A text heel came in, and it's basically the local channels. A local channel did not pick up the playoff game, or Gore's trying to get it on TV 20. I don't know if he tried to or not, but I don't think you're able to do that. People had to watch it on Prime Video last night. And I think a lot of people get pissed off about that because you're tired of having to get all these different apps. And I get it. You can't, as an owner, you can't just say, I'm putting my team on TV 20. We just signed a new contract, so we're going to go over the air. Then Prime is like, wait a minute. We spent millions and millions of dollars to get this game through the NBA. You can't do that. I know you'd like it. No local network can just say, we're going to have it because it's on Prime and not everybody can get it. It's not the way it works, unfortunately, but that's not the way it works. Here's my heel. And he also reminds me, Dan Gilbert bought 25 buses. I think I said 8. I don't know why the hell I said 8. Here's my heel. My heel is ABC. Sunday morning, they aired a promo for the Eastern Conference Finals between Cleveland and New York. The problem, obviously, Game 7 didn't take place yet between the Pistons and Cavs. Now, I get that networks have to put promos produced ahead of time, but executives get paid a lot of money to make sure they don't air. It's a bad look for the network. It's a bad look for the league.
Yeah, it was awful.
And now the conspiracy theorists are out there. All right, how about your heel?
Yeah, mine is no shocker really, I think, but it's the Detroit Pistons. So I'm sticking with that because I'm sticking with what I said. Like, I feel like if you're a 1 seed coming in the playoffs and you have 60 wins, you should at least reach the Eastern Conference Finals. At the end of the day, they didn't do that. And the way that they went out in Game 7 is just not the kind of taste you want to leave in their mouth. That doesn't mean that I think they made progress this year. I don't think you need to throw the whole season out the window and, whatever. But at the end of the day, I think Cleveland was a beatable team. And again, the Dan Campbell quote seems to always come up about this might have been our only shot. I'm not saying this is their only chance, but I think this was a good chance for them to maybe get to the finals this year. So it kind of sucks that they weren't able to keep it going.
When we come back, a good quiz for Andy and you to show you how much television has changed. Stay with us. We're brought to you by Soaring Eagle.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Rod Stewart returns to Soaring Eagle Thursday, September 3rd. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series with special guest Richard Marks. Tickets start at $71 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com. One last time, Rod Stewart with Richard Marks, September 3rd. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
We would share with a message from the Carmody brothers. They wanted me to invite everybody out to your local Buffalo Wild Wings in Michigan for every Pistons playoff game. You can watch Detroit basketball as they push for the world title on all the TVs at all Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan. You can enjoy a meal for two, a pick six. They got great wing specials and more. Watch Pistons playoff basketball until it ends at all Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan.
Let it hurt, let it sting, and just like get better. Like I said, like everybody, not only at the team but individually, like what can we do to be better next year, help each other out, and that's my focus. Is starting from now. So I know it always hurts, but just learn from it.
So Sar Thompson, that's the right attitude. Easier said than done, right? You know what's going to be really interesting? And we'll talk about this as things move forward. What's going to be, first of all, it's going to be really hard for us to watch the Eastern Conference Finals. Do you think you'll watch them, Andy? Will you watch all 7 games if it goes 7?
I mean, not all 7, no.
Okay.
I mean, after
I'll
definitely watch games. Just gonna have time, but yeah.
Yeah, I may not watch if it's an 8:00 start. I may not watch till the end.
Break from those, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. It's going to be hard for us, I think, to overall digest that because let's face it, and the NBA's got. I'd be surprised if they don't recognize this already. There is a belief, a deep-rooted belief from a lot of people who watch the league, love the sport, but don't like the way the league is officiated, that there is a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, no, and I mean the way that it's been officiated throughout these playoffs, especially if you're a Pistons fan, like it's hard, man, to like just say like I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's hard. The league is a problem right now, I think, with how watchable it is. That's for sure.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist either, but there are certain things that you understand for those who are. You can understand why they are when they start bringing in things like this. And if the Knicks get there, that's something that a lot of people believed from the very beginning. Okay. And our friend Freddie helped me. Thank you. He says, you're right. 8 buses for game 5, 25 for game 7. Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's just, it's going to be really hard to watch. But Asar Thompson laid it out properly. I mean, he's absolutely right. The question now remains, if this team is to get better, and it was hard to go from 14 to 44, nearly impossible. Nobody's ever done it. Then 44 to 60. You can get better without winning as many games during the regular season. Cleveland proved that last year to this year. Cleveland's a team that won, 64 games last year. They were the number 1 seed, okay, in the NBA, in the Eastern Conference last year. This year, they won 52, but they're a better basketball team. So how does Detroit do that? That's a great question. But you're going to have to bring in, I would say, a couple of impactful guys. I'm not calling them superstars. I'm not calling them all-stars. They have to do something for your team that you currently do not possess. You got Duncan Robinson on this team. I'd love him to come off the bench. I'd love your starting lineup to be Cade Cunningham, man I don't know, impact player, Asar Thompson, man I don't know, impactful player, and Jalen Duren. Now, I wouldn't give Jalen Duren a max. Would you sign him to a long-term deal? I probably would. Now, if he's paired with a stretch 4, Evan Mobley-esque, he's a much better player.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a lot of guys on this team who are better than if the sum of all the parts on the team are better. Okay.
It was clear in both series that they were able to key on Duren and Cade and make their life really hard. Question. I mean, it was obvious. And if they can't see that, then there's a problem.
Cade Cunningham came through with it, Andy. Otherwise, I mean, he was number 1 in points per game and assists per game and things like that. But it's really, really hard work when you're doing that on your own. I like Tobias Harris. This is not a knock on him whatsoever. But you need somebody at that spot. I want you to think about how much better your team would be if you had guys like Isaiah Stewart, Paul Reed, Ron Holland, Duncan Robinson coming off your bench. And you had an impactful player, Michael Porter, instead of Tobias Harris. And I've liked Tobias Harris. You know that. It's just eventually it's time, when guys get a little bit older, and he doesn't possess that outside shooting. He possesses the mid-range jump shot, which I like, but that doesn't spread the floor the way you need it to. So if you got somebody like a Tyler Hero, like a Michael Porter Jr., people are all over Giannis Antetokounmpo. That might be pretty tough. And if he's doing what Miles Turner says he did in Milwaukee, I don't want him either. Skipping meetings, being late to meetings, being late to buses, not getting fined, not adhering to the rules laid down by Doc Rivers. Maybe that's more on Doc Rivers. It could be because he's too afraid to actually do something about it to a superstar. And that's what's another reason why you got to love what Cade Cunningham brings. He doesn't do that stuff. Anyway, you get a guy in that spot at, for lack of better purposes, the 4, and you get somebody else who can be out there and help bring the ball up the floor and so on and so forth. We're talking about a completely different scenario. And a team that is stronger through its depth. Dennis Jenkins comes off the bench. Ron Holland comes off the bench. Paul Reed comes off the bench. Isaiah Stewart comes off the bench. Duncan Robinson comes off the bench. You're 10 deep, man. It's a good situation. And I know people want Marcus Sasser. And I know people like Chaz Lanier. Okay. I want 2 impactful guys.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
It's at
and
the
I
point
think that's
where
what they need.
I think most Pistons fans are going to say that. You can't just go with the hope that Dennis Jenkins stories keep working out. You know what I mean? Like at some point, you got to actually go get somebody.
You do. And I think they recognize that. I do. I think Trajan Langdon will recognize that, and something will be done about it. That's the hope anyway. Let's get to the final results of the poll question from the other day, from Friday, and the Daily Wager, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort and their Sportsbook Ascend. We asked you, how do you feel about the Lions' schedule? Looks favorable. Concerned about the end of the schedule. Don't like where the bye is scheduled. Mitch Lyons said that as much in Mondays with Mitch. Said that, I don't like the bye. I wish it was more middle of the year. And the end of the schedule is tough. How did people vote on this, Andy?
Looks favorable. Won the vote at 50%. So it wasn't like a huge decision overall. But concerned about the end was 20%, and dislike the bye week was 30%. So yeah, I mean, I think people are still overall going with the fact that they think the schedule looks way easier than last year on paper, and that's kind of where people are at.
If you could pick one thing that you really like about the schedule, what would it be?
I mean, I think if I had to pick one thing, I feel like a lot of their road games aren't as hard as they were last year.
Okay.
I don't know, on paper. That's the one thing.
There's a 7-week span, almost a month of games. 7-week span from October 12 through December 5. Okay? More than a month. I'm sorry. 7 weeks, more than a month. 4 weeks is a month, you idiot. So more than a month stand, 2 months, where Detroit only plays one true road game. All right? They've got 4 home games, a bye week, a game in Germany, and then the road game against the Dolphins. That's not bad. That's not a bad situation. The bad thing is obviously at the end, when you're playing 3 of your divisional opponents on the road, 3 out of the 4 weeks. 3 of the last 4 weeks, you're playing divisional opponents on the road, and the last 2 in cold weather situations. So to me, that's the good and the bad of it. All right. What was the Daily Wager Friday? How'd you do? And what do you have today?
Well, it was, I guess if we want the Tigers to win games, I should just bet against them. So I had the Blue Jays winning that game. It's the one game the Tigers won last week. So the series played out to be true kind of for my bet, but that game didn't. Spencer Torkelson walked it off. Not my best start last week. So we're going to try for better. And I'm going to go back to what worked the one time last week was betting on the NBA. I'm going with Chet Holmgren to get 15 points tonight. He's done it in 6 or he's done it in 7 of the 8 games in the playoffs so far. And if you want to go for a little bit of plus money, go a little bit higher at 18 points for plus 138, which I still think is a really good value. He's done that in 4 of his last 5 games. So that's it.
Good. All right. We'll keep an eye out for that. Hey, You like TV, right? You
do.
consider yourself a relatively knowledgeable television person.
Sure.
If
yeah.
I asked you what were the most watched TV finales in U.S. television history, what would you guess?
So these are just like, it can be any show. Doesn't
Any show.
Any show. Okay.
Any show.
I would say that you got to
Let me give
have
you one hint. One is before you were born.
Okay. I would guess that Friends has to be in there.
Friends is number 5.
Okay. That's a good one.
52.5 million viewers in 2004 saw the final episode of Friends, which I never watched, quite honestly, until my daughter got into it. And she begged me to just watch a few. I don't think it's really funny, but I have watched it. Anyway, that was number 5. Give me another one. I'm going to give you 3 guesses for number 1.
I would say Seinfeld has got to be in there too, which is
Seinfeld is number 4.
Yep.
76.3 million viewers in the final episode of 1998. So far you're 2 for 2 for the top 5, but you haven't gotten the first one yet. One more.
Man, it's tough. Is The Office anywhere in there?
Good question. The Office is not in the top 25.
That's crazy to me. I feel that's like maybe it's just because of but this is they watch the finale live, right?
Yes.
Okay, that might make sense. I feel like The Office has gotten more popular as it's been a streaming show, but yeah. So
Agreed.
Yeah, that's my guess. So
okay. MASH is number 1.
Okay. Wow.
All right.
Yeah, that would not have been my guess.
MASH, 106 million viewers in 1983.
Man, that's crazy.
Now, I know it's different. I mean, television is very different now. Okay. Cheers is number 2. 93 million viewers watched the final episode in 1993 of Cheers. Really is one of the greatest shows of all time, if you've never seen it. And I doubt you have.
No, I haven't.
But I would strongly encourage you. I think it's 8 or 9 seasons. I would strongly encourage you to go back.
Well, this is the time of the year when I do start to watch shows and stream
Okay.
them more because obviously, people like you and me, like we watch sports a lot. And this, like baseball is the only thing right now. So if the Tigers have an off night, I'm watching stuff. If I have nothing else to do, I'm watching stuff. So yeah, this is usually the time of year where I start to do it.
Okay. So can I give you a couple of shows?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you like cop shows? Do you like comedies? What do you like?
I'm definitely somebody that I like it when it is like comedy, but it's still kind of like feels like that's why I like The Office so much. Because I liked how it kind of somewhat felt real at times, but they
my
kind of
son
blow it
feels
up.
the same way.
Yeah.
And he got me into The Office, which I think is really funny until Michael Scott leaves.
Yes, then it does get tough to watch. I agree.
All right, so I'm going to give you a few shows. I don't know if you've seen them, so forgive me and my naivete. Have you heard of The Wire?
Yes, I have heard of The Wire. Yep.
Have you watched it?
I have not. No.
Okay. Excellent show.
Okay.
Have you heard of The Sopranos?
Yep. I
Have
have.
you watched
I
it?
have watched it. Yeah.
Okay.
For
So
sure.
that's an excellent show.
I had a roommate in college that loved it, so watched it plenty.
Have you ever heard of True Detective?
No, I can't say I've heard of it. No.
Okay. I want you to watch when you can True Detective. Really seasons 1, and it's not long. That's the beauty of it. But seasons 1, I think 1 and 3 are the best. 2 is not bad. It take 2, you got to get past the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
1, 2, and 3, very good.
That's how it
I
is
think
for a
they're
lot
only-
of shows. I feel like.
Yeah, I think there's only 8 episodes per season, so it's not bad.
Okay, yeah.
But it's something worth watching.
Are they like long, like hour long? Half hour?
They're about 45
Okay.
minutes or
Yep,
so,
that's
something like that.
tolerable.
Okay. So there's The Wire, which is a long one. I think that's, I forget how many seasons that is, but it's so well done. And True Detective. All right. Some people think The Wire is the greatest show ever on television. And I mean that. Some people have said that. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it really is one of my favorites. So The Wire, True Detective. And if you're going to watch, now this is, old humor, so it may not sit well with you. Cheers is fantastic. Anyway, so MASH goes 1, Cheers goes 2, The Fugitive, before my time, 78 million viewers watched the final episode in 1967. Then Seinfeld, then Friends. Then Magnum P.I., the original, not that bullcrap they remade. Okay. Then The Cosby Show, All in the Family, which I don't know if you've ever seen that, Andy.
I've seen episodes of that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That would never fly today. Family
True.
Ties, never liked it. Home Improvement. There's your top 10. Frasier, which is really funny, is number 11. Then Dallas, Everybody Loves Raymond, Star Trek The Next Generation, never watched an episode, Gunsmoke, Happy Days, Newhart, The Golden Girls, Full House, never saw it, Saint Elsewhere, never saw it, MacGyver, too far-fetched, L.A. Law, Good-Looking Women, Alf, never watched it, Mary Tyler Moore, my wife's favorite show, and The Wonder Years. There's your top 25.
Yeah, there's plenty of those that I have not watched or not heard of. So it's kind of surprising to me, but I guess it makes sense because, like, you know, if it was at the time very popular and people wanted to watch the last episode live when that was more of a thing, then it makes sense to me.
You know what's interesting? Nothing in the past 20 years, first and foremost. And second of all, way back in the day, I mean, even today, some people say you watch too much TV. Sure looked like people watched a lot more TV back then than they perhaps do now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's way different with the way that it's set up now. I mean, everybody can binge a show. I mean, I'm a victim of it. I've done it plenty of times. Like, if you give me something that I can watch back to back to back when I have nothing to do, that's just what happens. Then there goes 3 hours.
Exactly right. One more quick one before we get rolling. If you had to build something we can maybe talk about tomorrow. If we had to build the right player for the Pistons to get, would it be a guy like Lauri Markkanen?
Like,
I think now he doesn't play very good defense, dude. Remember that.
And that's a big part
Malik
of the
Beasley
Pistons
didn't
thing.
either. Tim Hardaway didn't always either. What's interesting is if you think somebody could conform from being a bad teammate to a good teammate with his culture, do you feel like somebody could conform to being a more responsible defensive player if they never were before?
Yep, I think that's absolutely possible, and I think that's like where Cade Cunningham as a leader comes in. I think that's where JB Bickerstaff's coaching comes in a lot and stuff. I think you have to take that kind of risk too, because a lot of really good scorers probably don't play the best defense. So yeah, I think it's at least harder to find somebody that plays both those, like the way they say Cade Cunningham does, right?
Well, if that's the case, then a guy like Lauri Markkanen might be a really good fit.
I think he would be for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You go out, you get a guy who can flat out score. Okay. In addition to that, if he gets just a little bit, even Duncan Robinson played better defense this year, perhaps, than he did in any of his years in Miami. Who says that Lauri Markkanen couldn't do the same? This is an interesting text. Shep, little TV trivia. The night Cheers aired its finale, the next show was Friends. Very first show. Did not know that. Learn something new from our great listeners all the time. Thanks for your time on a Monday. We're back with you tomorrow, 6 o'clock, X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. Have a great Monday, everybody. For Andy McDonald, I'm Matt Shepard. We'll see you tomorrow.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby.